Murders at Karlov Manor draft season was a fun one here on the channel, and new Karlov Manor draft content has unfortunately come to an end, but that doesn't have to mean that MKM limited content has to end as well. Over the course of this format, I ended up doing 34 total drafts and earning a 7-win trophy in 12 of those drafts, putting my trophy rate at a whopping 35% to go along with my 67% game win rate over the life of the format. So it is now time to close out the Murders at Karlov Manor limited season, as I like to do here on the channel, with a little top 8 of my best drafted decks over the course of the entire format. I have included 8 of the 12 trophy decks to battle it out in a single elimination best of 3 top 8 tournament, and after 7 videos over the course of the next couple of weeks, we will be able to crown what was my best drafted deck in Murders at Karlov Manor. Now, to help me with this tournament, I've enlisted the assistance of longtime friend, viewer, and patron of the channel, George, who will be playing on my alternate account to act as my opponent for each of these 7 matches. And today we will close out the semifinals with me playing the Naya Disguise deck, which took down Simic Double Vanifar in our 3rd quarterfinal match. This was a true 3-color deck featuring 7 disguised creatures among other powerful cards and rares. Cards like Topiary Panther and Nervous Gardener really held this deck together, while removal like Torch the Witness, Makeshift Binding, and Buried in the Garden paved way for an incredible late-game value to take over in the form of a couple of cases. This is the best case of the locked Hothouse deck I had all format, and case of the Crimson Pulse certainly was no slouch either. George will be piloting Gruul Disguise, which was victorious over Izzet Satchels in our 4th and final quarterfinal match. This deck was headlined by its 4 copies of Tunnel Tipster, accompanied by its 8 disguised creatures, leading to a plethora of games that spiraled out of control very quickly. This deck also runs a copy of Case of the Locked Hothouse, and usually one very soon after it was able to be solved. Drop a comment down below to let me know which deck you think will come out on top, and I'll see you in the match. Alright, here we are in the 2nd semifinal match with me on Naya Disguise going against George on Gruul Disguise. The double disguise decks here are going to have a lot of face-down permanents. We're going to start on to play and keep the hand. It's slow, but both of these decks are relatively slow, on the slower side, so we'll keep this here and draw Maverick on 2. Go ahead and see what else we can find. Don't need a 6th land right now, but we'll keep Gatekeeper. Just so you're all aware, I am recording this audio and video post-match commentary style as I have with the rest of the tournament, so that's how this is going. So I'm not playing and voicing at the same time in this scenario. But let's see what George has. If I would guess, it'd be a disguised creature, and look what it is. Okay. So are we willing to trade Gatekeeper for an unknown disguised keeper or disguised creature? I think ours is a little bit more beneficial here, so I'm just going to play another disguised creature and pass it on back. And another disguise, maybe? Tunnel Tipster. And no priority with the other 2 mana, which is interesting. So I think the most mana efficient thing for me to do is play Sentry and disguise the concealed weapon. And I guess I could offer this Vengeful Creeper trade, and it looks like that is what I'm going to opt to do here, and see if they care about their 2/2 disguised creature as much as mine. So, alright, so there seems to be pretty valuable there. So let's see what the play is with 6 mana. Disguise, and let me guess. Disguise. Disguise versus Disguise. Lots of face-down creatures. I don't even know how to play against this matchup here, because there is a lot going on and a lot of unknown information. I think we could do better than an ambusher, but you know, the Case of the Locked Hothouse, finding another land isn't the end of the world here. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep that land. It lets us cast or flip up the Vengeful Creeper as well. And at this point, I don't even really even know what I'm doing when it comes to attacking versus not with all of these creatures face down. So, who even knows? All right, lots of decisions over there. Do we have more disguise creatures? The answer is no. All right, so we could flip up Gatekeeper. Now by playing this land, we can also flip up Vengeful Creeper here. Still can't flip up our Concealed Weapon because we don't have red, but that's okay. And now, with us both passing with so much mana up, we can't really attack into each other that well. Okay, they have a 7/7. And I can go ahead and flip up Gatekeeper and turn it into a 2/2, which also gets me double counters on Gatekeeper and Sentry here. So that's pretty good for us. Disguise, what's new? And down goes Sentry. Okay. And they can't really attack because we do have a 4/3 here, but Tipster is growing. Land isn't the worst. That means we can solve our case here. So, question is, do I want to flip up my 5/5 to kill their clue while they're tapped out? And that is what I go for. I guess I could have attacked as well, but I'm just worried about what any of these disguised creatures could be on the way back, and I'm just gonna let our case go to work here and get all sorts of value for us is my thought in this process. And yet, Vengeful Creeper ruins my plan. So, and we can't even cast Torch the Witness. So do we attack with our 5/5 and open ourselves up to even more, you know, potential attacks on the way back? The answer is no for me, so we're just kind of at a board stall here, waiting for something to break it. That could break it. That opens up attacks for their Vengeful Creeper here. And still 5 mana to flip up any of these disguised creatures. And here they come, so my thought in making this double block is that at least one of these are going to trade, because if one of them eats my creature, the other one is going to trade with my creature, which still doesn't leave me in a great spot. Yeah, the Clan Basher is going to eat my creature, but we do trade with their Hellion here. Nervous Gardener opens up the ability to cast Torch the Witness on Bullrat Clan Basher now, so that is something. It's not a lot, but it's something. And no attacks. This game is not looking to be in our favor, especially because our own case at the Locked Hothouse has unfortunately been destroyed already. Flourishing Bloomkin to go get some extra lands here. Alright, being as mana efficient as possible. Attacks make sense, and at this point, I'm not really sure what we can find in our deck to get us out of this one here. Radical, good card, but not when you're on the defensive and don't have any creatures. So let's start by cracking the clue here and see if there's anything we can find that can help us. Land won't be the thing. So my thought here is to just make this a 5/5 so it can at least trade with their creeper now. So now I guess I'm just gonna see whatever this 2/2 is and block it. Okay, it's another creeper and it still trades, so it's all a wash in the end anyway. And here's another 4/4 with Vigilance. That's a Crovad Haunch. That won't do it for us. So we're going to get out of game 1, head into game 2 here in this best of 3 matchup in this semifinals 2, and see if Naya Disguise can make the comeback against Gruul Disguise in the last 2 games here. So we're going to start on the play in this one. With a Maverick on 1, only 2 lands, but Maverick goes a long way in helping you find that 3rd land. So let's play Maverick. And as good as Gatekeeper is, we just need lands. So we're going to bin those 2 creatures there. And there's a land. Not too bad. And accidentally forgot to attack there. Kind of got a little bit ahead of myself, but I think it'll be fine. Worse things have happened. So now I'll play this as a disguise. They have some sort of priority here. And hey, we attacked this time, so at least there's that. Panther cycling, all right. A disguised creature. What a surprise. So I kind of meant to flip up the Gardener first, and I'm about to do it, but then, I accidentally played the land. I got a little ahead of myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and play the Night Watch, and then attack with the Gardener here. See if they call my block or not. And he does, so now I'll go ahead and get my red. That's one mistake I've made too many times in the format, is just getting a little ahead of myself with playing my lands, but obviously in a high stakes scenario that would probably lead to small percentage points in win percentage, but here it's kind of negligible as far as what's happening in this situation. So Due Diligence, a pretty good beater here, so I'm just going to go ahead and suit up the Maverick, make it a 3/3, attack with a 4/4 and a 3/3, and then flip up the Museum Night Watch here. They go to 11. Tunnel Tipster and Disguise, let me guess. There it is. Okay, Seasoned Consultant. The question is, do I use Torch the Witness on any of this stuff? And yeah, I think we're in the position to try to pressure their life total a little bit. See, again, just playing the Consultant there wasn't completely necessary. He now has full information on what to do, so... Again, sometimes I just get a little ahead of myself and think that it's not going to matter that much, but... Okay. So we did trade. We get a 2/2. We got a Hellion in the yard. Six lands. Concealed Weapon is pretty interesting here. that could lead to surprise lethal with +3/+0. And even if all they have is a flip disguise here, we could at least trade. So we'll swing with everything. Blocking the 3/3 vigilance. So now my thought is I could flip up the concealed weapon, put it on consultant, and have lethal. But if they have exactly Vengeful Creeper, which we saw in game 1, then they could kill the weapon because it is an artifact, which would eat our Maverick and not be lethal. So I actually just say your move. And look, it is exactly Vengeful Creeper killing the Due Diligence, which means we now have the go-ahead to get lethal with +3/+0. So at least we made correct sequencing there to finish out that game. So we do take game 2, which means we head to a deciding game 3 here in the semifinals to see which deck is going to go up against the Boros deck in the finals on Thursday. All right, we're on the draw, but again, Maverick goes a long way in making suspect hands pretty good. So we're going to keep this here, play Maverick, and see what we can find on future turns. And you know what? These both seem pretty darn good. So we're going to keep them. No plays, we'll go ahead and this time actually attack. Forgot that last time, and play Sentry here. Okay, Disguised Creature, makes sense. And no sense for us to attack, we'll just play a Disguised Vengeful Creeper here and be on our merry way. Case of the Locked Hothouse. Alright, well, thank goodness we have a Vengeful Creeper, although we are pretty far away from actually flipping it. So we're going to have to hope that case doesn't get too much value here. And I was checking if binding can get rid of case, but it cannot. So something I can do is kill their disguised creature here with Torch the Witness. I don't get a clue, and it takes my whole turn. But I think that's better than playing Seasoned Consultant. Because with case on the battlefield, if they are able to solve it, if they have 2 lands in their hand, or 2 lands with 1 on the top here, we need to try to get them dead pretty quickly. And there's a land, and there's a land. So that does mean it is solved at the end of the turn here. So we need to try to make sure they don't have too many uncontested turns with Case of the Locked Hothouse here. So at least our turn is pretty much set for us. So we're going to go ahead and Binding the Offender, play Seasoned Consultant, bash for 4, and next turn we have 7-9 power on the board. There's a land, there's another land, and a Tunnel Tipster in hand means there was another land on top. A bit unfortunate for George there. There's our own case. Can't do anything with that yet, so let's equip Crowvad Haunch here in case he decides to trade with the Maverick. And he does do that, and he'll take 8 points of damage down to 3. Tipster off the top, land off the top, land out of hand, and that's all. Which means this is lethal if there is no other priority here. So we go to combat, attack all, flip up to Creeper because why not? Kill their case. And just like that, Naya Disguise takes down Gruul Disguise in the finals to meet up with Boros, or in the semifinals, to meet up with Boros in the finals. And you can see an updated version of the top 8 tournament bracket on your screen now. On Thursday, we'll conclude this tournament with Boros versus Naya here. It's been a fun one so far. Got one more match to go. Thanks for tuning in over the life of this tournament, and I will see you on Thursday for the conclusion of your Daily Draft Top 8 MKM tournament.